Tell me what caused you to become an informant.
I never aspired to be an informant. I never wanted to be. In fact, I remember the first time I sat down to debrief.
Appreciate y'all.
They started asking me questions. I just welled up in tears, right? It was just like, here I am. I'm a rat. You know, I'm a rat. I'm violating everything I've ever raised. I was ever raised. I'm violating that. I'm violating that rule.
What up, everybody? It's your boy Sack the King up in this motherfucker, man. Back with another video. As y'all can see from the thumbnail and title, this is a book review / update. Now, the person that I am reviewing their book today, I just finished this book maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I need to get back on these book reviews because that's one of the playlists on my channel that I just been neglecting. But I've read probably about 20 books in the last 2 years. Probably read about 10 this year. Just finished Trina's book last week, about 2 weeks ago. I finished this book here that you see in the thumbnail, which is called The Black Hand by former Mexican Mafia boss, Rene Boxer Enriquez, okay? Now, you know, y'all niggas know I don't fuck with rats. I don't like snitches, you know what I'm saying? I've been snitched on, if you've seen some of my previous videos. But when it comes to people who have made it to a certain level, who have an interesting story, I might check it out. I'm a big fan of biographies. I'm a big fan of like self-help books and books about getting money. Those are my 3 genres right there. Self-help books, how to think and be a better person, how to get some money, and autobiographies or biographies. Because people's lives are interesting, you know what I'm saying? It makes me want to start on my book. You feel me? I think there's a lot of things that, you know, friends and family members do not know about my life unless you was there in that time period, because I just am not the type of person to just be like, oh yeah, hey man, let me tell you a story about 10 years ago, you know, or 20 years ago. Like, you know, every now and then I'm sure my friends, you know, have heard some of them stories, but that's not one thing that, like, I feel like that's kind of like crossing game. You feel me? It's shit about my life that my own mama don't even know because she just wasn't there at the time. You feel me? I love my mom to death. She's one of my best friends in the whole world. You know what I'm saying? I can trust my mom and my oldest son with anything. With anything. There's nothing that I don't think that I can trust them to with, but there's still parts of my life that they don't even know. You know what I mean? Anyways, I say all that to say, I checked this book out. I bought this book. It's called The Black Hand, as you can see from the thumbnail. Also, as you can see from the thumbnail, you know, there's a image of a man with his face blurred out. Well, you know, Rene Boxer Enriquez has done an interview. It's his first ever interview since being a free man. Now, Rene Boxer Enriquez was a member of the Artesia gang. They call it ARTA for short, in Los Angeles. And he, you know, according to him, joined became a Sereno, you know, joined his gang in his neighborhood at about 13. You know, he moved up the ranks throughout the years in the California prison system. He has a lot of hits under his belt as far as prison stabbings. And he has murders under his belt in the name of the Mexican Mafia. It's a great book. It's a good autobiography. Also, a lot of his story, or some of his story, it kind of crosses over with another book that I read that I'll probably do another video on, by a man named Martin Corona. He was a cartel hitman for the Arellano Felix cartel. I'll do another video about that, but you know, he goes on to describe about how the Mexican Mafia and the cartels were working with each other, and some of the same names and you know, situations were mentioned in both books. So I'll get to that Arellano Felix Martin Corona book. If you've read it, you already know the stories. But I'll get to that in another video. The reason why I made this video is because I recently seen this interview on Soft White Underbelly, which you heard the beginning of. I hope I don't get a copyright strike for that, but if I do, it's okay. Shout out to Soft White Underbelly. I watch that channel. I'm subscribed to that. I think he does a lot of good. He's really found a niche in what he does. Anyways, and according to the book, he was a member of the Mexican Mafia. He rose all the way to the top, man. He was in the Pelican Secure Housing Unit, where they keep all of the gang leaders who are not in the feds. The feds ones, they're kept at the Supermax in the 88. Excuse me. They're kept in Colorado. The ones for California in state cases, like he had, were all kept in Pelican Bay in the SHU. I believe that they just released all of those guys back out to the main line a few years ago, but don't quote me on that. But I believe that all the Mexican Mafia, all the Norteños, Nuestra Familia, all of the major gangs, Aryan Brotherhood, Black Guerrilla Family, Crips and Bloods were all released. Even the death row inmates were all released back to the general population. So they're doing time on the main lines if they haven't rolled it up yet. Boxer was one of the people who got tired of the life, and he decided to become an informant. And it wasn't because, most of the time people got reasons why they snitch. Oh, this person fucked my wife. Oh, this person wouldn't get no revenge for it. He just got tired of it, man. He just got tired. He did 20 years of that. He had made it to the very top. He seen that there wasn't any kind of, out of that, but death and the rest of your life in prison, which is death anyway. I'm not justifying anything that he did. Like I said, y'all know how I feel about, informants and rats and snitches and shit. But, one thing you can't take from him is that, he was a top boss and a mafioso at one time. And he's still a man at the end of the day. And I'm sure that if you've seen him on the street, he still has that killer instinct in him. Just like Sammy the Bull, just like a lot of these ex-killers who have turned informant. All right. Just because they start informing and snitching don't mean that they ain't still that killer. You feel me? So you got to be mindful of that. Like I said, I'm not finna just pick up any little book by anybody who I'm reading the top bosses. Shit. Anyways, Boxer was instrumental though in exposing all of the secrets of the Mexican Mafia. Prior to him, this was a tight-knit organization in prison. I mean, I'm sure they had their defectors before. And while in the book, he named some of the defectors who were defecting, but none have went into detail and gave law enforcement as much information as this guy. He is still, till this day, on their hit list to be killed. And that is probably a reason why his face is blocked out in this brand new interview. I wish Vlad would have did the interview, because Vlad is going to go through the book and all his history with a fine tooth comb and ask the questions that I feel like, Mark wasn't able to answer, but Mark still did a good job with his interview. Like I said, it's a good book. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a good read. It's a pretty good book. Boxer was denied parole even after all that snitching hella times though. You know what I mean? So it's not always a guarantee that you're going to come out, and get what you want for giving up information. But he's given up so much information. They let him out in 2022, and he's been quiet ever since. Nobody knows where he's at. He's been quiet as a church mouse, all right? Because he's still on the list, like I said. But here we go. 3 days ago, he drops this interview out of nowhere. And, I see a lot of the channels that I follow or that pop up in my feed. They're going crazy with it because it's like, wow, this dude really showed. He didn't show his face, but he really showed his presence. You know what I mean? When he's still a targeted man. But, hey, everybody wants to tell their story. And, at his age, he's probably not making nowhere near the money that he was making as a Mexican Mafia boss. So, hey, even Sammy the Bull had to take a check to come up out of his hiding and start doing interviews. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's older now, and I feel like he probably wants to tell his story in person. Everybody wants to tell their story, man, at the end of the day. You know, especially one that is as prolific as his. It's a good book. I'm not going to make this interview, or I'm not going to make this video too long. I would check it out. I would also check out the Soft White Underbelly interview. And if you go on YouTube, you'll see a lot of videos that were leaked by the California Department of Corrections of him giving up the game on all the inner workings of the Mexican Mafia. Like, it's crazy, man. Rene Boxer Enriquez. He doesn't like the name Boxer, to be honest with you. But this guy, if anybody who's familiar with the Mexican Mafia or keeps up with that kind of stuff, he's brushed elbows with all of these guys from the founders all the way up to the people in his generation. You know what I'm saying? So it's a good book. You know, I would read it if I was y'all. It's interesting. And yeah, I just want to see how many more interviews come out of him. And I want to see a Vlad interview. You know, Vlad is the best at what he does. I wouldn't mind Joe Rogan getting this guy on there. They're the best at what they do, as I've said in previous videos. But yeah, Rene Boxer Enriquez is out, is doing interviews, and check out The Black Hand by Rene Boxer Enriquez. It's your boy Sack the King. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button below so you can be the first to know and help the channel grow. Appreciate it. King.